But will ordinary Australians even get a say in whether we join the US in a war with China? Clinton, is it correct that Australia's involvement in any conflict doesn't necessarily need a vote in Parliament, does it?
That's correct. The decision to deploy troops is just a decision by the Prime Minister, who tells the Defence Minister, and that's it.
And so, therefore, the Australian people don't really get to debate this, do they?
The only debate that's occurring is what's occurring here, thanks to you.
Yeah, because my whole point is that all of what we're discussing is pretty chilling on a lot of levels for the average Australian.
Yes. The last time the Australian Defence Force was involved in a high-intensity conflict was in Korea. We were 20 years in Afghanistan and the Taliban didn't even have an air force.
Also of critical concern to our experts is the impact a war with China would have on nearly 1.5 million Chinese Australians. After all, during World War II, Japanese Australians, despite having lived here for more than 50 years, were rounded up and imprisoned.
All those sociological consequences have not been factored in, with people of ethnic Chinese descent or people who look like people of ethnic Chinese descent being abused in the streets, calls from the extreme right and the fringes for them to be placed in internment camps.
Do you fear, all of you, that Chinese Australians will be seen as the enemy within?
Absolutely. I mean, the Australian Chinese community and everybody who look vaguely sort of Chinese, in the event that, you know, there is a war with China, what Clinton said, this notion of internment camps, you know, is a very real prospect. You know, John, I'll see you there.
There's no cosmopolitan, anti-racist way to gear a country's foreign and military policy towards confronting China without that stoking anti-Chinese racism. That is the reality that we're facing.
The major wars of the last 20 years have produced no winners.
If China takes Taiwan, it doesn't stop, it's the first step in that expansion. China has told us that. The only thing stopping China from invading Taiwan is consequences. So if the United States or Australia said we will not be involved, that massively increases the chances that China will be inclined to use force to so-called resolve this Taiwan question.
If you have the US going into harm's way to defend Taiwan, which after all, remember, is a fellow Western liberal democracy, just like Australia, we would be negligent in our responsibilities as a US ally if we stood back and did nothing. I do think that it is incumbent upon our government of the day to recommend and make the decision to intervene alongside the United States to defend Taiwan.
And Clinton, what is your message to Australians?
Well, they should understand that the Chinese government's resolve has been well expressed, and I believe it is genuine. They intend to take Taiwan by peace or by war. And the question is, what happens not just to the region, but to Australian society